there's an incredibly powerful thing, and it's called silence. That's how I did everything that I've done thus far in my life. It was from being silent, sitting alone in my silence, being alone in my thoughts. And when you go from a life of being codependent, let's say in school and such, it's a different life. Going from that environment to now being alone on your own path, on your own journey. It's a different ballgame. So if you can master that alone game, and if you can master things in silence, you will win in life. But it's about mastering that thing. It's about mastering that silence. Being able to think of the right thoughts in your silence. Getting the right answers in your silence. It is far from empty. And a lot of you are probably sitting in silence thinking it is empty, thinking there's nothing there, but everything is there. All your answers are there in silence. You're getting all your answers from God. And it's something you have to listen to. You listen and you apply. You listen and you take action. You listen and you move. You step back in life. And you listen. You take it all in. No matter what your life is, no matter where you're at, you could have every addiction in the book. You could be bent out of shape. Doesn't matter. Because if you can sit in that silence and just think of the right things to do and then take action, it can change your whole life. So it's what a lot of people can do, and you have to be able to do it. I'm more scared and afraid. Not literally, but I'm more cautious of certain things coming into my life rather than solo. Because I've had things in my life before. You guys have had things in your life before. Things can go wrong when people come in. It seems like every time someone's come into my life, things went wrong. And when I was my most solo, things was going the most right. And it's not that every person that's going to come into your life is going to be a disaster, but it just makes you think. Remember the other times. It's not being naive. You'd be naive to think, oh, everything's just amazing, da-da-da. You have to understand that things can take a turn in this life we live. But when you're alone by yourself, nothing can steer you in the wrong directions as long as you're sitting there in your silence, getting your answers and taking action. No one's coming in. No one can lead you in the wrong direction. You're leading yourself in the right direction. And like I said, it's what a lot of people cannot do. Building yourself as a man, bro, it takes a lot of years. It takes a lot of time. And there's honestly nothing better. And there's actually nothing worse than the things that have come into your life once upon a time, whenever they came in, and just effed everything up. those were the worst times of your life if you think about it. And it's just unfortunate because not everyone can really hone in on their skills to allow themselves to be in that position in silence. And they get in with the wrong people. They meet the wrong chick. They get the wrong friends group. They become more codependent towards their family, and they're not growing an identity of their own because they're focused on everything outside of themselves, when you have to focus everything what's in yourself into the things you do. That's how you become something, and you do it in silence. You think you did that with a bunch of noise around you. Oh, all this stuff. Look at my friends. I'm just getting so many ideas. You can't even think straight when your friends are around. Friends, right? You can't even think straight. You can think straight when it's just yourself. I feel the most calm, the most at peace when there's no sound. It's just me. Not a damn sound in sight. I can think the best. It seems like literally everything else that comes in, that comes around, it shortens it. And it's not that you shouldn't spend time around people, but let's be real. You being alone in your silence, where all the magnificent answers are, is where everything's at. It's where your creativity's at. It's where your thoughts are at. It's where the best ideas you'll ever have in your life are at. And for anybody to not think this way, for anybody not to believe what I'm saying, I guarantee you've never done it. And I guarantee you failed in your silence. And you made bad decisions out of weakness, out of fear, out of anxiety. You've made bad decisions. How many bad decisions are you going to continue to make before you just logically, this is what I should be doing? Logically, this is what I should be doing. This is what I should be doing. This is what I should be doing. Being able to think clearly and get ideas. And understand every single thing you do that is wrong, you pay a price for it. And every single thing you do right, there's a reward for it. Some of those rewards come 5 years later, 10 years later. That's the thing. So allow yourself to be by yourself. Allow yourself to be at complete peace. And be able to get the answers from the higher up so you can execute on the things you should be doing in this life. It's very, very important. Because without it, you have nothing. Without your actual identity, without you being who you're supposed to be as a man or a woman, you have virtually nothing. Your life is going by and you're just not who you're supposed to be whatsoever. You're just not. So that is a state most people are in, is they're not the person they're supposed to be. And that's a dangerous thing. It's a dangerous thing to yourself. It's a dangerous thing for everybody around you. It's a dangerous thing for me if other people is that way and they're coming into my life and things start to take a turn for the worst. And y'all have to be able to recognize this when it comes to certain friends you may have or whatever it might be. Energy does not lie, bro. I pay attention to energy I pay attention to how I feel when certain people's around me. There are people who come around me and I literally feel better, like a better, healthier, happier human being. And then there's people that come around me and it's like I couldn't spend another hour around that person. Not another hour, let alone another day. So it's unbelievable, bro, the amount of bad that's in this world and the amount of unhealed people that are in this world. And you just have to make sure you're doing your part on your end to become whole yourself. If you become whole, if somebody else becomes whole, y'all complete each other. And if it ain't about that, bro, it shouldn't be about you. Because, like, let's look at it this way. If you become whole yourself and there's other people around who ain't whole, but you form with them, they're not whole, but you're whole as a human. So if they come in, they're going to rob you of your holiness. You know what I'm saying? They're going to rob you of what you have inside because they ain't got it. You have to make sure they're a real person. You have to make sure they have a real identity. Nobody's perfect. But you have to make sure they're real. You have to make sure they have an identity. You have to make sure they're worthy of being in your life. You have to make sure you can deal with the individuals or friends or whoever you have around you. Or they just sucking the life out of you. Or do they add to your life? Is there things and there's benefits they can add to your life as you can add to theirs? These are the questions that need to be had. These are the questions that need to be told. So these are answers you will naturally get in silence. You have to meditate on things, bro. You have to think about things like things have to be better. Things have to be better. You can't sacrifice yourself for other people in this world who may come around you who's underdeveloped, who is not developed, and is not even working on developing. That is what you have to acknowledge. And if people's putting in effort, if people are developing, that's one thing, but if they're not, that's a whole other fucking thing. And I don't recommend getting around toxic. I recommend getting around people with a sound mind who understand this world and understand certain things. Because without that, without people understanding you and your boundaries, it's going to be a bad time. A lot of disrespectful people out there. If you see the way a lot of people are, bro, they don't care. People nowadays don't even care how they treat you. They don't even care. They'll treat you anyway. It depends on their mood. They'll treat you anyway. It just don't even matter. And it'd be crazy. Like, you don't deserve that from anybody, bro. Like, life is better without those people. And these are answers you will get in silence. But if you're just always in the noise, always distracted, always around certain people, it's going to be very hard to weave that stuff out because you don't even have a sound mind yourself. And it's because you don't spend enough time in the silence, being able to think, being able to really think things through, think things out. The smartest people, bro, have spent lots of time by themselves. Albert Einstein took a lot of time to himself every day, went on walks by himself and just brainstormed and thought of things. I used to do that without even knowing. Like, I just felt like I should have been doing that. And it's not that I read it in a book. It's not that I seen that he was doing it or anybody else was doing it. I was naturally doing that shit, bro, because it felt right. And I don't know how I do it. I don't know how I do it, but my whole life, in the very unperfect circumstances that I grew up in, I just naturally was doing the right things at a young age. And nobody told me to do it. I didn't read it in books or see it on podcasts or anything like that. I naturally started to do the right things and make the right moves. Naturally. And of course, I started to learn, and when I started to learn, it was game over. It's game over because I'm learning from the best in the world in so many different areas, in psychology, in business, in certain things. In health and fitness, obviously. Like, just so many things that I can't even think or name them all right now. But it's life-changing. And when I was doing those things, I was alone in my thoughts. I was alone. I was taking in all this information, and it's just making me think. And I'm thinking how I can do this, thinking how I can do that, seeing certain information and learning from it. And it made my past made sense when at one point my past didn't make full sense. But when I started getting all the answers, things started to make sense because of the things that I took in. And the whole point of this video is all this is done in silence. Complete silence. Like, you're alone in silence, and you might see something, you might see a video, you might see something, but it's not like there's racket going around you and people around you and stuff like that. Like, bro, you have to get away from people. It's gotten this bad. That's some of the best advice anybody can give you today, is to get away from people, bro. Like, have fun being your best. Have fun being at your best in this chaotic world. Until you can get around the right people, the hell with it. The hell with it. It's very important to either be by yourself, and you should still spend a lot of time by yourself without anybody else around. But you can afford to spend time with people for a certain amount of hours a day if they're the right people, but not even if they're not the right people, bro. Not even. So, I hope this video could do something for some of you and to make you understand further and deeper into what you must do. You have to think your own thoughts. You have to feel your own feelings and go off of what really comes to mind when you're alone in your thoughts. Because you're going to get these little epiphanies, bro. You could be 21, 22, 23 years old. You have not a clue what you want to do in your life. Next week you could. Next week you could know what you want to do with your life because you simply just thought. You were alone in your thoughts. You thought of things. You could think of one idea that could completely and utterly change your life at any time. And you could live to 25, you could live to 26 and not know what you want to do with your life, and all of a sudden, just like that. So it's about listening to yourself and being alone in your thoughts and understanding that silence and being alone is not empty. It's full of all the answers from God that you want. If you're not in that position, if you're not listening to God, you're probably listening to something. You're probably listening to some toxic family member or coworker or something. Probably. And there was always something that I knew people was stupid around me, bro. Like, I knew that. Any job I've ever had when I was younger, I knew all these people are stupid. Even in school, it's like something's just not right. This is just low level. Everyone thinks they're so cool and all this stuff, and it's like, even teachers, they just, I don't know. Something just wasn't right about life from the very get-go and beginning, and you have to get out of school and start to make life make sense. And guess how that happens? You'd never guess. You'd never guess how it happens, guys. Being alone in your thoughts. It's as simple as that. Just think. Think. Let the answers come. You're not just going to sit there by yourself in your thoughts and everything's just going to hit all at once. You have to consistently live that way and get answers every day of your life. And you start to put the pieces of the puzzle together. Nothing should be that forced. Nothing you do should be that forced. Things should be pretty natural. And if y'all can pull this off, man, you can change your life so fast your little head will spin. Even getting on the right path without all the results yet is still a huge step in the right direction, and you're about to get those results that you want. So I encourage everybody to put yourself in that position to make that happen. That's it. God willing, God bless. We will see y'all at the top.